which now brings us to the reason why I'm stressed, the reason why I'm going to be a little bit off most of the week. It's just I didn't think that I'd be in this position. Yet here we are, 77 episodes into this podcast, 24 years into my life, and I have a team that's being...
There's a chance at a ring.
Playing in the Super Bowl.
Playing a game that matters.
Oh my God. I can't believe it. The Cincinnati Bengals, AFC North champions, 10-7 record on the season. Where do we want to start? We could start all the way back last season when Burrow went down with the injury in Week 7.
And how you were calling for an offensive lineman's head that wasn't even on the team anymore?
Well, that's just how bad their offensive line was last year. He got cut and I didn't even realize it. We could go all the way back to there. We can go back to me sitting there in 2005 I would have been 8. Me sitting there as an 8-year-old watching Carson Palmer throw a touchdown pass on the first play of the game against the Steelers in the wild card round and then tearing his ACL on that same play. We can go all the way back there. Or, we could start at the fact that this season, Mike Brown, who is noted as the stingiest owner of all time, spent $100 million on a defense. Here's the free agent acquisitions on defense this season for the Bengals. Trey Hendrickson, 4 years, $60 million deal. Chidobe Awuzie got $18 million guaranteed.
By the way,
former Buff. Mike Hilton, former Steeler, got a contract with them. Larry Ogunjobi from the Browns. Eli Apple, I think from the Saints or the Giants. I can't remember who he was on.
I think it was the Saints,
before. And then Ricardo Allen, who played for the Raiders for a few seasons. All of those guys combined, $100 million invested total. And boy, has it paid off. I think that's the one thing, like I said, not last week, but 2 weeks ago when we were talking about the AFC Championship and when I did my live reaction video. This may not be a team this is definitely a team that's not as talented as the Los Angeles Rams. This may not be a team, one of the most talented teams that we've seen in the Super Bowl, period. But this might be a team that's playing just about as well as anybody else has ever made it to the Super Bowl and had a run like this. They've had to play absolutely as good as everybody on this team has been able to play in their lives. That's how they've had to play this entire playoff run. Starting all the way back from the Raider game, going through Tennessee, through Kansas City, they could not have been playing at a level below 110% and made it this far.
And it is, and let's keep it a buck. And look, you're a Bengals fan, all these great additions. And the one person I will say out of that list, obviously Trey Henderson, that addition is just incredible. But the unsung hero of defense is Ogunjobi and what he's done on the defensive line.
He got injured in the first playoff game too.
And he was incredible all year long for them, but it is one guy.
Yeah.
And you didn't even put him on the list of events here. But the day the Bengals turned into from irrelevant to must-watch TV was the day that the pandemic started and Joe Burrow was drafted via Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
That's and what, like I said, what this kid has done. And
I may or may not see Burrow on the list of 7 best Bengals players of all time.
He better be there, I'll tell you right now. He is, and I'm going to be pissed.
I started on Sunday, the 7 days leading up to Super Bowl Sunday. I've done Chad Ochocinco and Carson Palmer so far, but you will probably see Joe Burrow on that list.
I would put him on Sunday. I'm going to tell you right now, he's on that list. And look, like I said, I love Pat McAfee show. I watched, and he had Kirk Herbstreit on Monday, and Kirk Herbstreit had a great story of how he asked Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase from LSU, what made you gain trust in Joe Burrow right from the start when he transferred from Ohio State. They said first practice, he scrambles out of the pocket. Devin White is coming full head of steam. He runs him over and gets in Devin White's face. Yes, the Devin White, the guy who was a Super Bowl champ last year, arguably the best middle linebacker in football, gets in his face and just starts talking shit right away. First practice. The guy from Ohio State didn't get any play time behind Dwayne Haskins and was it?
I can't even think.
I can't think. The other guy, not really relevant, anyways. Nope. And like I said, this kid is for the ACL injury. We could be out like the Bengals last season. Yes, they weren't as talented as they were.
They were starting to pick it up.
They were starting to pick it up because Joe Burrow was figuring things out. And I can't even keep calling him a kid because he's our age. And what this guy has been able to do It's incredible. The guy is. There's a reason why they call him Joe Cool, Joe Burr. I can't roll my tongue.
Joey Burr.
Yeah, thank you. And all Joe Shiesty and all these different things because the guy just comes up and just wins. Like, that's one thing he just does. He doesn't care who's across the line. He doesn't care that his offensive line is just as fucking bad as it is. He will just make...
It's the worst ever.
He will make plays with whatever he needs to by himself and put his team in a position to win games.
Remember when we thought Baker Mayfield had moxie?
Yeah.
Whatever we thought Baker Mayfield had, moxie and confidence-wise, Joe Burrow's got that plus some.
Everything Drew Lock and Baker Mayfield think that they have is what Joe Burrow is.
And just all of his interview questions, like the glasses, I just thought they were cool.
The Cartier, and then the real diamond Joe.
I made way too much money to have these be fake.
Man.
Underrated flex. Okay. Yeah, no. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, obviously, that's been great. But I think too, and this is me coming 180 degrees on coming full circle on Zach Taylor. He helped establish the culture along with Joe Burrow and now Jamar Chase and the guys on defense too. I listened to Sam Hubbard, by the way. Did you know that the Bengals are doing all this? This playoff run is for Harambe.
Oh, yeah, that's another reason.
Harambe. Listening to Sam Hubbard, and he's talking about guys, and I went back after the AFC Championship and listened. There's like 4 or 5, weirdly enough, there's 4 or 5 strictly Bengals podcasts out there. And I was listening to them, and they were talking about this team and this culture has been established, and you're seeing that the way Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard played in the second half against Patrick Mahomes, and Sam Hubbard spied Patrick Mahomes the entire second half. That's a defensive end spying what we all know is one of the most athletic quarterbacks and most dangerous guys as he scrambles out of the pocket. That was established because Zach Taylor and Joe Burrow were both sick and tired of the Cincinnati Bengals being the doorstep of the league, and everybody knows that they were. The reason they have Joe Burrow is because they went 2-14 2 years ago. And then the year after went 4-15-1 or something like that, something stupid. And yet here we are at 10-7. This is early. This should not be happening as early as it is, but here we are, and we're sitting where the Cincinnati Bengals have the chance to win the Super Bowl.
I hate bringing this shit up, but I might as well because history is not on your side. Look, and obviously there's been quarterbacks that have done this before. Let's see if you know who this is. There has been one guy in NFL history that has made the Super Bowl within his second year in the NFL, and never returned to the Super Bowl again. Do you know who that is?
Dan Marino.
Dan Marino, exactly. So I'm not saying Joe Burrow's Dan Marino because maybe he's better or maybe he's worse. I don't know. We don't know yet.
Dan Marino did play in Miami.
This is true. This is very true. And Joe Burrow is in Cincinnati. So you got to also play all these into factors. And you just got to hope, like I said, look, there's no doubting everyone loves watching Joe Burrow succeed. There's zero doubt about that. I'm hopeful for your sanity's sake that this is a long-term thing and that he can continue to be the guy he has shown this season because he's that much fun to watch. But in the long run right now, you cannot think about that. Because right now, because what this kid has done, and there's a reason why he's been known to play good in big games because like I said, he played in front of more people in the national championship than he actually no, not in front of inside the Super Bowl, but every game of his NFL career thus far.
He's played in front of bigger live crowds than most other quarterbacks in the NFL because unless you play in the SEC, you're not playing in front of 100,000 people every single week, and that's what Joe Burrow did. He's never faltered in a playoff game. That's the one thing. Going back to college, he never faltered in a playoff game against Oklahoma, against Clemson, against Las Vegas, against Tennessee, against Kansas City. And now, I'm not changing my expectations to where we're going to go on Super Bowl runs every single season. If they win this Sunday, I'm not going to come back here on Monday and say, okay, Dynasty started. We're winning back-to-back. That's what's going to happen. We haven't won in our franchise's history. We win our first one, we're going back-to-back. That's not happening.
You enjoy the one.
I enjoy the one.
Enjoy the one.
And here's
then when the draft starts, you start looking toward next season.
And good thing about this draft, it's very offensive and defensive lineman heavy, so we should get better there. But my expectations moving forward now, just be a competitive football team.
Yeah.
Just don't be 2-14 again.
Don't go back to being the doorstep of that division.
I don't want to be picking in the top 10 for another 5 years at least. Give me a 5-year window with this team where they're competitive and picking like 15 to 25 each year, I'll be a happy person, and this team will be in a much better place than it has been. Because the joke about the Bengals was, they're a first round pick team. They have like 9 guys picked in the first round most seasons, and teams are happy that they see the Cincinnati Bengals on their schedule because they're like, free win.
Yeah.
And now we don't have that situation. So.
And being the doorstep of that division, obviously the Browns were the doorstep, but it was always a 2-man race. It was always Pittsburgh and Baltimore, and now you throw your hat into the mix with the quarterback of your generation, of this franchise for a very, very long time. Hopefully, you better knock on wood as I'm saying that. And what this franchise could do with the teams in this division. Look, you have the best quarterback in the division. Maybe Lamar Jackson, you can argue, when he's healthy. Okay, stop. When he's healthy, you can argue those two. But you have a division with a team that doesn't have a quarterback currently, and a team that doesn't know what they're going to do with their quarterback, in the Browns and Steelers. So that's where you're at, and you easily have 1 or 2, 1A, 1B quarterback in this division, and probably 1A right now based upon recency bias. So now you have to continue doing that year in and year out because you're no longer a fluke. This is cute. But what's the expectations next year?
It's not cute next year.
Yeah.
It's not cute next year unless you compete again for the division and at least have a shot till the end of the season for a wild card spot. Speaking of the games that I think we should focus, or here's a game that we should throw out. 3 games that we should throw out. Chicago, the loss week 2. You got to throw that one out because they played god-awful. Joe Burrow threw 3 picks on 3 straight passes in that game. And the Bears were obviously not great. We knew that. So, no idea what happened in that game. The first Browns game, I don't know why they got the shit kicked out of them. They ended up getting the shit kicked out of them. It ended up not mattering all that much. In the last Browns game, they didn't play any of their starters.
I'm glad you didn't say that one game in second month of the season at the end. That game still fucking haunts me.
It is.
That game still fucking Mike White beating my fucking perfect season.
I don't throw that game out because I think you use that game as a reason to continue forward. I think you use that game. You use the Green Bay game, and you use the San Francisco game where you lose in overtime in 3 games that I think you probably should have won. Those are the 3 games that you keep in the back of your mind. Like, don't get too confident. Don't get too cute. Remember to win. Remember, you still have to win the games because I think they came out against the Giants and the Jets, and the reason why they did what happened, and the reason why Mike White became a thing for 2 weeks is because they thought they were going to.
A week and a half, wasn't even 2 weeks.
Okay, yeah, you're right. The reason that happened was because the Bengals thought, it's the Jets. Well, how a lot of teams used to think about the Bengals. It's the Bengals. No, it's the Jets.
The game I'm circling right now, that is the turning point in the season. I'm not saying the Broncos game because obviously it was the worst offensive showing that the Bengals have had at the end of the year.
If the Bengals do win, do you think Vic Fangio is going to be like, wow, my defense made the Super Bowl champions look mortal?
I don't talk about that ugly motherfucker ever again.
He's going to be the DC and
I hope he goes. I hope he goes to DC with the Raiders so I can see Josh McDaniels, Tom McVay, and Vic Fangio twice a year. That'd be so much fun. Sorry, the game that I'm circling that is the turning point where this team's real was the Baltimore game. Playing Baltimore, a team that you have a history of them kicking your ass every single year, and yes, they didn't have the likes of Lamar Jackson fully healthy, but you go in there.
They beat they swept the Ravens and the Steelers this season.
I know, and you go in and you punk them and just whoop their ass so badly by 20 piecing them. That's where I was like, yeah, this team's got a shot, and that was the point where I think they realized that too. They realized, well, man, we really got a chance here. That obviously the Cleveland game at the end of the year doesn't matter, but
that was after they got all their hiccups out of the way.
But yeah, basically winning. You've won 6 out of the last 7 with one game not counting technically because you didn't play anybody.
And they had to do that to make the playoffs.
Exactly.
They wouldn't have made the playoffs
because by the Broncos game you were still in the wild card spot.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is true.
By the Broncos game we weren't winning our division. By the Broncos game, we were sitting down at
playoffs. Yeah.
We said it when we were going over how it was being at that game live, and I talked to Broncos fans and Bengals fans like around the stadiums. Are you guys going to win out and make the playoffs? Hell no. Hell no. At that point in the season,
Yeah.
hell no. And yet here we are, and we're talking week of the Super Bowl.
7 weeks later, 8 weeks later.
And I can't enjoy Super Bowl Sunday anymore. I have to be stressed out and worry about what's going to happen.
It's a good thing to be stressed out. It's a good thing. Like I said, I haven't had a team. I've only had one team in a big game. Actually, two times. Take that back. We don't count the other one that didn't happen when we safety on the first game play of the game. We're gonna talk about the one. So
Manny Ramirez snapped over Peyton's head. Yeah.
So we only one big game where I was because the Nuggets have only made it to Western Conference Finals, which those games felt like fucking Super Bowls every single one to me because it felt like a dream that we were there. Avs haven't been to the semifinals and I don't know how long. All my only memories of any victories were when the Rockies made it to the World Series in the Rocktober and the Broncos getting to this, winning a second Super Bowl. That's the only victories I've reasonably had, and the fact that you finally get one too, I feel I'm happy for you. Like I said, I'm not pointing out who my prediction is yet. Even though I'm a Von Miller fan, I'm glad that you finally get a little bit of taste of success.
And the stat leaders for the Bengals, obviously we got to talk about Joe Burrow, but the thing that I want to talk about him most, being the 70% completion percentage in the regular season, over 4,500 yards passing is great, but in the postseason, he's had 5 rushes that resulted in a first down. And if you remember, in that AFC Championship game, he had to convert 3 third downs with his legs because everybody was covered. And that one play, the Chris Jones play, is going to live on in my memory forever, where he's wrapped up around the shoulders, wrapped up around the legs, and whoa, that skinny 215-pound white boy just got away from the defensive nose guard, bearing down on him, and he's going to go make a play. And
I'm going to tell you right now, that stat you just gave out is a little bit of a segue to one of my legs in our SGP, Bula's same game parlay that he told me. So keep that in mind, those rushing yards a little bit later on. But yeah, like I said, your offensive line is just absolutely horrendous, and you're playing the best defensive lineman in this generation and one of the best pass rushers in the last decade.
You're going to have to move, Joe.
You're going to have to move.
You're going to have to be able to do that. You're going to have to do that a few more times. Don't ever set up in the pocket. Just assume that the pocket's collapsed.
Yeah.
Pressure from the right guard off the bat all the time.
And gets the ball out quickly.
Yeah. Get the ball.
Don't give Vaughn a chance to get 2 steps. Don't let Donald get 2 steps on your offensive guard. I don't even know who his name is, or your center. Don't let them get time to get sets.
You don't need to know their names. It's not worth it. Another guy that's going to be key in that, Joe Mixon. He's been a little bit quieter in the regular season. He had 1,200 yards rushing, or in the postseason. He had 1,200 yards rushing in the regular season. Only 190 so far in the postseason. But the Bengals have been able to shut down games, and they've been able to make big plays happen behind their running game. And Mixon, that touchdown in the Tennessee game was the only touchdown that they scored outside of, I think, outside of the first quarter. That was the only touchdown that they were able to score. And he's been a big factor in the passing game, too. He's catching a lot of balls, making plays happen. He's running as hard as I've ever seen him run. So Joe Mixon, if he's able to get the running game going a little bit, and that's how the way that they hide how bad their right side of the line is at pass blocking, they run to that side. And they can run block a little bit, not all the time, but they have good success running the ball to the right side of their offensive
plays out of nothing.
Yeah, I mean, he dodges 4 to 5 guys in the backfield, and he's been a back-to-back 1,000-yard rusher. He's a total animal.
Honestly, I don't know what the numbers look like, but I think he's maybe the only person to do that. Only other person I can think of, Derrick Henry didn't hit it this year. No. Maybe Chubb. I don't know. Maybe Chubb. That's the only person I can think of. Or Cook, maybe. I'm not sure. Besides that, it's
Joe Mixon's been sneakily one of the best running backs in the NFL for the past 3 seasons. He's been top 5 in rushing yards for the past 3 seasons. And then T. Higgins, guy. I didn't put Jamar Chase's stats down. I didn't put I didn't put Trey Hendrickson's stats down. I didn't want to put the guys that were obvious. I wanted to put the guys that I think were going to make the most impact in the game. And T. Higgins is going to be that guy because who are the Rams going to take away? They're going to take away Jamar Chase, just like how the Chiefs took away Jamar Chase by double covering him.
Yep, and that's how I got into the fantasy football championship. But T. Higgins couldn't do anything for me the following week.
Well, because he didn't play in the last week of the season. And I will say, up until the AFC Championship, T. Higgins was disappointing me with his playoff performance. But he made the plays in the big moments when he had to. And his postseason stats right now, let's see, I got it down here. 14 catches, 209 yards, and 10 catches that resulted in a first down. No touchdowns, but he is moving the ball. And I didn't realize how big he is. Like, he's long. He's as long as a tight end. He's just skinny. That's the only reason why he isn't putting his hand in the ground and blocking. And then the leader of the defense that nobody talks about is Logan Wilson. He had 100 tackles in the season. He was the team leader in that.
He didn't play the full season, too.
No, he was hurt for 2 weeks and had COVID. He didn't play against the Broncos.
I want to say it was like 4 weeks out of 17.
He was also the team leader in interceptions. He had 4 in the regular season. And then in the postseason so far, he's leading the team in tackles with 30. He's got 1 tackle for loss, 2 pass deflections, and an interception. He is, when you have a middle linebacker like that, it's like, he doesn't make as big of hits as Ray Lewis. But Ray Lewis, Tom Brady used to talk about Ray Lewis as the biggest chess match that he had going up. Because the guy Brady makes an audible, Ray Lewis makes an audible. Logan Wilson's the kind of cerebral guy, and he's much more of a pass coverage linebacker, which we're not really seeing a whole bunch right now in the NFL. He's been playing at a different level, and he's the reason why this Bengals team, and this Bengals defense in particular, has kept the team in this run. Because if the Bengals defense isn't playing the way that they have been, the Bengals were out in round 2 of the playoffs.
Exactly, yeah.
We're talking about Tennessee in the Super Bowl instead of...
probably Kansas City, which, thank God, Joe Burrow's done what he's done, so I didn't have to see another 2 weeks of Jacksonville Holmes.
You're welcome.
So thank you very much. But yeah, Logan Wilson, this defense, it's not...
We can claim Logan Wilson, by the way. He went to Wyoming.
Yeah, that's true.
We claim Josh Allen.
Yeah, we do.
Claim Logan Wilson.
It's true, we do. I was gonna say I don't like claiming a lot of those Wyoming guys, but Josh Allen's different. But I'll claim him. Fine, I'll claim him. But yeah, he has been this X factor. The one thing I will say about this defense, because we're giving a little bit of a preview now, a little bit going here forward. 8 of the last 10 Super Bowl winners, the better defense statistically has won. That is not your favorite. That is 100% not your favorite. Look at the last few Super Bowls that have had a super hot quarterback going into a game against a good defense. Last year, Mahomes against that red hot defense, the Bucs, shut him down. You go back to where's the next one? New England, Atlanta. Matt Ryan was the MVP, putting up stupid numbers. Patriots come in and punk him. Like he has a good game.
Put up 34 points in that game.
And the Patriots defense second half locked down, and that's how they were able to come back from 28-3. Then you go to Denver versus the Panthers. Cam Newton coming off an MVP season, coming in red hot. Everyone's like, Cam's the guy. Broncos come and pump them. Go back into the other Super Bowl that I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about the other one. Peyton Manning coming off the most touchdowns ever scored in a single season. 55 touchdowns.
His best offensive season.
Still wasn't broken, by the way, in a 17-game series, and I don't know how much longer that's going to happen. But still, the record for most touchdowns in a single season, Peyton Manning coming in red hot with a not very good defense, coming in to paying the Legion of Boom, and an absolute stellar defense. The Seahawks got punked. So, right now, everything's not in the favor of the Bengals, but when you have Joe, say Bird. Thank you. I can't do the R's, so
I thought you were going to say Shiesty.
No, I need you to say it because I can't roll my R, Jimmy. I need you to do that for me. But when you have Joe Burrow, I guess things can change. But I'm going to tell you right now, history is not on your side.
I will say.
I'll tell you this though. Who do you think are the 2 teams that did not have the better defense going into the game that won the Super Bowl?
It would have been the Chiefs when they beat the 49ers.
49ers, yep.
And it probably would have been the Patriots against the Seahawks, right?
Patriots, that defense with Gilmore was the number 2 team, and the Seahawks I think were number 3 or 4. So it was close. The other one was Philly. Philly and New England. Philly at the time was a good defense, but New England had the higher chance. So 2 in the last 4. So I guess you got that.
I will say I'm glad that you brought up the Philadelphia Super Bowl because this is fairly similar. Not necessarily like you're not taking down a dynasty, but Philadelphia Eagles were a franchise that had never won the Super Bowl, had been there before, lost, and they were like, "What are we going to have to do to break that glass ceiling?"
Yeah.
And their defense was not playing great the entire time, but played big in the big moments. Sound familiar? In the big moments and made plays when it had to happen. I'm not gonna. My prediction is so off. My head is legitimately swimming. It's a miracle that I've been able to put together my thoughts coherently up till this point. We'll see how the rest of the podcast is going to go. Before we finish up on the Bengals, Zach Taylor, third year as a head coach in Cincinnati. Ready for his record? 16, 32, and 1.
It doesn't matter. He's 10-4 this year.
That's
or
true.
10-6.
And he's 3-0 in the postseason.
Exactly.
He has an AFC championship. He's only the third coach in Bengals history to win the AFC championship and make it into the Super Bowl. His first coach since Sam Weish, which I don't know if
I've never heard of that name before in my life.
you probably not familiar.
I know who the quarterback is Ken Anderson.
No, Boomer Esiason. Ken Anderson was the first Super Bowl.
Okay, that's right.
Boomer Esiason was the second. Sam Weish is famous because they were playing a game against Cleveland and they were throwing snowballs. It was in Cincinnati. They were throwing snowballs onto the field and they were doing the same thing. They played Cleveland like 3 weeks before, and Cleveland was doing that again. So Sam Weish got on the PA announcer's microphone in the middle of the game, like didn't call timeout or anything, just ran over. Sam Weish was a character, is what I was told. And when I do my history on the Bengals, that's what I see. But he's like, you don't live in Cleveland. You live in Cincinnati. The next person who throws something on this field is gone. They're out of here. I don't want to hear it. And Cleveland hates him for that. So
this franchise, man. Like I said, I legitimately feel bad for you. I can't believe. Apparently, this is the second time in the modern era that a team has not had an indoor facility and made it to the Super Bowl. The other one was apparently Carolina against the Broncos, but
it makes
it doesn't matter. It's in Carolina.
Makes a lot more sense, yeah.
When you're in fucking Cincinnati, Ohio, where it snows for 4 months out of the year.
We just had to deal with a week-long ice storm. Not we. People in Cincinnati had to deal with a week-long ice storm this past week.
I swear to God, if you don't get a fucking indoor facility off of all the money you're making from this game, look, it's a good joke. It's a good joke. It's funny. You could say that you won a Super Bowl without an indoor facility, but at some point, Joe Burrow deserves an indoor facility. Like get that man like a nice little lounge chair. Like give him a little massage chair or a recliner. Give him everything he needs. Like get him an indoor facility so that when it's cold and negative 20 degrees outside in Cincinnati, Ohio, he doesn't have to wear a little hand warmer to practice. He can put a little heater under the nice little dome you have, like all the other 31 teams in the league have.
You make good points. It's not going to happen, but you do make good points. It'll be interesting to see how this thing goes down. Obviously, we'll both be watching. We're having a party, so I have to be on my best behavior now.
That's okay.